Been married for 14 and a half years, and we have three children, all with special needs. We homeschool all of them. And so I'm a stay-at-home mom, full-time homeschooler, um, constantly juggling, running our own business for my husband, various side jobs we have to do, all the homeschooling stuff, the therapies, appointments, um, all of that. So very, very busy in my own way.
That's pretty wild. And in the midst of that, you for whatever reason decided to go on a weight loss journey. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes. Felt a little crazy at the beginning, but it was just kind of like time to do it or get off the pot.
Yeah. And so
Needed to be.
your life being as crazy as it is, uh, what were you feeling like physically, emotionally, kind of before starting Health Changer Academy? Can you just kind of go back 16 weeks and just think of the emotions that you were feeling, being overweight, feeling stuck? Like what was Danlynn feeling and experiencing 16 weeks, before Health Changer Academy?
Yeah. Well, I think even going back a little before that to last fall, um, I I've always struggled with weight and unsuccessful dieting and turning to food for therapy, basically. And I found myself one night literally just binge eating once again. And I was just like, I'd eat something and then I'd feel guilty. And then to punish myself, I would eat more because I'm like, I'm so angry at myself for doing this again. And so then I'm like, darn you, body, I'm going to eat another bowl of ice cream just to show you. And I literally ate, I probably ate about 4,000 calories in one sitting in like the middle of the night. And I woke up feeling so sick. I was like, I have got to change this or I'm going to die. I'm type 2 diabetic. I was just adding medicines and not taking care of my health at all. And then realizing like the next step is insulin. And I didn't want to get to that point. And having my kids and everybody, I was like, this is ridiculous. And so I was like, I gotta do something. So I had used like a calorie tracker app in the past and had some success for a while. So I was like, you know what? I'll open that back up and I'll start that. And so I started reducing my calories and just like trying to hit like 8,000 steps a day. And I dropped a lot of weight initially pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, I'm doing awesome. And then right around like in Thanksgiving hit, and I didn't gain weight over Thanksgiving, which I was really impressed at myself by. I'm like, oh, I did it. I made it through the holidays. And then I plateaued for like the next 3 months. And I didn't lose any more weight, even though I was not seeing my calories. I just was like stuck. And so I had been really proud of myself. And then all of a sudden, what I was doing wasn't working. And that was really frustrating and demotivating. And I kind of was realizing, like, I'm going to have to probably start working out. I've never worked out a day in my life, ever. And I had no idea where to start, what to do, like, even like with the eating, I wasn't eating like, I didn't know what a macro was. I didn't know how to eat for health. I was just limiting my calories. So if that meant I ate a bunch of crap that was like processed but low calorie stuff, then that was great. And then if like the way that calorie app tracker works is if you exercise, you could take that and add it to your total. So I could like, hey, I got an extra 500 calories I could eat, which technically, yeah, but then I was kind of like really pushing that calorie deficit like limit all the time. And it was just not working. It wasn't sustainable for long term. So I kind of was like, what do I do? I got to do something. And then like I had kind of seen, I mean, your stuff had popped up on Facebook here and there, and I'd watch like the field or whatever. And then you had posted something like, I'm looking for like 5 stay-at-home moms who just want to make a change in their life. And I was like, well, let's we could see what he's wanting. And so I reached out to you and then met with you with my husband, and I think it was like over like 2 or 3 nights or something. It was a lot of talking. But I don't know, it was kind of like it was just time. Like something needed to be done. It needed to be something that was sustainable, and it was like, you know what, let's give it a go. And I'm thankful that I did. I said it was. I look at like now, 4 months later, and I've been able to get off 4 of the 5 medications. I mean, the cost of the medications was like over $1,200 a month,
Wow.
and now I'm just on metformin, which is like $4 a month.
Huh.
So the cost, even that, like, in it'd pay for itself in just a couple months of medication. That you can't put a value on that. And just the amount of like where my A1C is now, it's in the normal range. um just how I'm feeling better, like I'm more active with my kids, and I'm you know getting them more active and teaching them about how to eat so that they're not having the same misconceptions about food that I grew up with. um I'm like, looking long term, I was like, you can't invest in something better than that, because it affects more than just the right now. Like, it's lifestyle change, and not just for me, like for my husband and my kids and everyone that is influenced by it.
What was the moment that made you decide, like, I think Health Changer Academy may work?
Trying to remember back, like part of it was that, like, you had us print off, like, you asked if we had pictures of us like back in our skinny days that we could like look at as a goal, and I didn't have any. Like, I've literally been overweight my entire life. Like, where I'm at now, at like 189, that's lower than my junior high weight, because I
Wow.
wrestled in the 192 weight class, so I know what I weighed in junior high. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like, now I feel better about that, but I mean, looking back, I'm like, that's so unhealthy. And that was like my smallest that I can remember. I've never, like, I look at all my pictures and I'm huge my whole life. And I was sad that I couldn't look to a picture and be like, oh, I want to go back to that. I had
Wow.
no back. I was like, I don't know what I want to look like. I have no idea what my ideal weight is, or my body shape, or any of that. And so I just kind of like Googled, I'm like, what jumps out to me? And I grabbed like a few pictures of some women like around 160 or something. And I'm like, you know what? That looks healthy to me. It's not super skinny or fit. I don't think I'm ever going to be that, but they look healthy. And that's what I really wanted. And like, that was kind of motivation to me to be like, could I be that? Maybe. Let's give it a go. Because I never had been that. So like, to me, it wasn't an identity, like even a possibility. Like, I'm a fat girl. I've always been a fat girl. I'll always be a fat girl. And so it was kind of mind blowing. Just like, oh, I could actually be that. And watching a lot of even just like YouTube videos and Facebook reels of really obese people losing weight and looking like they had been skinny their whole life. And I was like, I want that.
Hmm. Did you believe that you could achieve that? Like, deep down, was it like, oh yeah, I could get that? Or did you have limiting beliefs that said, well, others can, but I'm not sure if I can because of I can't remember the last time I was in great shape. I mean, so if you're honest with yourself, what do you think?
I I think in that place, like, I really didn't think I could have, which is what appealed to me with having like a coach who was in communication with me constantly and like writing me. And when I first reached out to her, and she was like, well, what kind of coaching do you want? You want me to be nice, or do you want me to like really be hard? And I was like, you know what? I need you to kick my butt, because I know myself, and I'll slack when I can, and I'll get lazy and, want to skip. And like, I need someone who I know is going to be like, you need to do this. You need to be better. Like, and so having that like kind of almost fear of like, well, I don't want to let her down. I don't want to get a lecture. Like, it was
Yeah.
like, I need that motivating factor. And whereas my husband had tried in the past to be like, honey, maybe you should lose some weight. It never ends well. And it was like, you know what? He is not going to be my workout accountability partner. It's not going to be the relationship we need or have.
Yeah.
So it was like, the idea of having someone outside of that who's just looking at, the numbers and at me and going, you know what, you can do better, or hey, let's work on this. And I'm not going to take offense to it like I would, if my husband said it to me.
Sure. What was your favorite thing about Health Changer Academy?
Honestly, one of my favorite things was like the Monday calls, like the community, and just starting to like see some of the same people every week, and share stories and encouragement and our wins and stuff. Like, I started to really look forward to those each week, and connecting with everyone and just encouraging each other.
Were there any fears before you jumped in, right? I gave you my spiel, my pitch. I told you what Health Changer Academy is about. You've probably seen other testimonials. Was there a fear still before you took that plunge of, man, like, do I want to join Health Changer Academy? Do I want to like level up and invest in a coach?
I think my biggest fear is that it would be a waste of money, or that I would not be successful, and then I would be like, I would feel bad that I wasted money that my husband had worked so hard for. Um, and so I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want to let, my coach down. I was kind of had a lot on that of just like, I don't want to fail. And I think in a way that actually drove me to like do better. It's like, you know what? I'm investing in this, so I'm committed to it. Whereas like free things, you're like, well, whatever. It didn't cost me anything. So I think the investment in it really drove me to be like, you know what? I don't want to be a disappointment. I don't want to waste this. I want to make the best use of it. And that kind of was like every time I didn't want to work out, it's like, you know what? You're paying for this. Let's do it. Get out of bed and push yourself and see what you can do. And, I've come a long way in that where like now I love working out. And I never thought I would say that in my entire life. It's bizarre.
So what would you tell someone listening thinking, yeah, like it might be a waste of money. I might fail. I have a gym membership, but I've never really invested in a coach. How would you encourage someone to just like take the plunge? If they're hesitant because of just investing into something they haven't done before, and probably they've had a track record of systems and programs and DVDs, whatever, that have failed them. And now they're just looking at coaching and thinking, is this going to be a waste of money? What would you tell that person?
The fear is real. Like, could it be a waste? Yes. And that is entirely up to you and what you do with it. I mean, the information is there, and you have to choose like whether you're going to use. I mean, it's no different than like a college education or anything else that you pay. Even a car, you can invest in a good car, but if you don't maintain it, it's not going to be worth anything to resell. And so it's like what you put in is what you get out. And like for me, I had a motivating factor of I don't want to die and I don't want to end up on insulin or like having other major health issues. I'm only 35. Um, so, and like I said, what I'm going to save on medication alone and other like major health issues that diabetes can bring on is huge. And like you can't put even a value on that long term. And could that have been wasted? Absolutely. If I did not go out there and like put the work in and keep pushing through and like start changing my body, I would still be in the same place. I mean, I'd be calorie restricting, so I'd probably still lost some weight. Maybe working out if I did it like once a week or whatever, I'd probably put on a little bit of muscle, but not the same as maintaining the minimum 3 a week and starting to put more protein in my body and learning about these things. That's going to have longer term effects than just like weight loss.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of like all the Kajabi videos and the information in those and kind of redoing the whole mindset of it, where it's not just immediate weight loss. It's like learning like why do we need protein and like why do we need carbs and fats and why am I doing even like a morning routine and getting in the word and like things beyond just weight loss. Like we're focusing on the whole person and the whole lifestyle and making it a like whole lifestyle change, not just a diet program, not just a workout coach, but like changing the whole person so that it is sustainable. And I mean, I feel like at this point, like it is a habit. Like, oh, I must hit, 3 times a week at the gym. That's a habit. But is it a lifestyle to me yet? Probably not. Like it ingrained, like that's who I am. I go to the gym that much. Or,
Yeah.
but eventually I want to get to that point. But I feel like I have a good foundation for that to, build on, to where I'm like, you know what, I can do my own research and I'm starting to work out and like figure out my own kind of workout routines and I'm trying new things and experimenting a little bit. Whereas I mean, I never would have even stepped foot in a gym before. I was too embarrassed.
Share with us like your wins, physical, like your physical results, emotional, maybe who you're becoming now. And I think you going to the gym is a win in and of itself.
Let's see, wins. Let's say like I've lost. What have I lost? like I think I'm down 17 pounds since I started,
Okay.
which I mean
17
honestly
pounds on
my
the scale.
on the scale since starting Health Changer Academy. Now my goal was like 25, I think. So I didn't hit that. But I'm okay with that now because I've also put on quite a bit of muscle that I didn't have before. And I'm seeing like toning in areas I never had before. Like I had a lot of skin sag, especially after losing pounds from just the calorie restriction. I had a lot of skin sag and it was really bothering me. And my coach was like, you know what, just it'll go away eventually. You've got to build up that muscle. It'll tone. It just takes time. So things like that. I went from a 2XL down. I've just started fitting into I'm comfortably fitting in size 16 pants, and even some of those are getting a little loose.
Hmm.
So I was super excited about that, and I've just started being able to wear like size medium t-shirts, which I was thrilled about. I don't think I've ever been a medium that I can remember.
Wow. Wow.
So those were exciting. Like obviously getting off the medication, my endocrinologist was thrilled. I mean, just even my relationship with like my kids is better. I'm like, let's go ride bikes. We sold all of our old bikes at the garage sale. We went and bought new bikes, and I'm like, let's go. We don't need these janky things. Like, we need good stuff. Let's go enjoy being active together. Like, we bought some tennis rackets, and like, let's go play tennis. I don't know how to play tennis, but we're gonna figure it out. We're just gonna run around and hit balls and like going swimming and stuff, and just kind of being able to be more intentional and present with my kids and having fun with it. Even doing chores, just kind of have more of that mind muscle awareness of like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm carrying this heavy basket, but oh, it's not as heavy as it used to be, and I can like tighten my core, and I'm gonna like walk up these stairs, and like making it all kind of part of it, not just like a chore anymore. It's like, oh, this is a workout. Even
Yeah.
I've started doing some like kitchen workouts. I found these like videos where you have like how to do like different kitchen workouts where you're cooking. You could do like push-ups off the counter, or like in the bathroom you could do like dips on the bathtub while your baby's bathing and all
Yeah.
this stuff. So just kind of like fitting it extra little here and there, and just making it kind of more of a lifestyle. Like, and then also just when I'm being more mindful of when I'm eating out. Like even yesterday, we were out in the city and my kids were hungry, so we went into Burger King, and I got them whatever they wanted. And then I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of hungry, but I don't know if I should eat here. And they made the mistake of putting the calories under every menu item, right up on the menu. And I was like, oh man, that little like $1.50 burger is 440 calories. I don't think I need that. I can wait till I get home.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like you would have sold me before, but like, oh yeah, it's $1.50 burger, whatever. It can't be that bad. And it's like, no, not worth it.
Okay, so we got the outcome results. You lost size, weight. What about like the type of person you're now becoming? I saw a glimpse of that with you looking at the calories at a restaurant. That's you becoming a different person. Talk to me about the whole working out. I think you sent in the community a message that you're actually at this one place for the first time ever. Share a little bit about that. What were you doing?
Yeah, I've always had a fear of like, I was like, well, I can't get a gym membership because people will see me work out, and I can't have that. And so I've, for the last, whole time, pretty much until this last week, like had been just doing the home workouts. And I had, a moderate amount of success with that. Um, and then I kind of got to the point where I was a little bored with, there's a limited amount that you can do
Yeah.
without investing in more expensive equipment.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, some of this equipment's expensive. Well, the gym's only like 30 a month. So maybe I should look at, because they have all of it there. I'm like, maybe I should look. And so I looked through those. I'm like, man, some of that stuff looks kind of cool. I don't know. And I'm like, you know what? I made $30 off a side job that I did. And I was like, I'm just going to do it for a month, and we'll just see how it goes. No commitment, just a month. And so I signed up for it. I'm like, okay, I'm paid, so I feel committed. So I'm going to do it. And I went the first time and I had no idea what I was doing. And I felt so intimidated. And there were a bunch of people there who looked like they knew what they were doing. And I was like, well, I'll go on the treadmill because I know how to do that. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to go read. And then I realized they all have little instructions on the side. I'm like, okay, I'll try to do that. And, I'm like, oh, I've done some of these in junior high. Maybe I'll do those next. And I just had to like little by little. So my first one was a little weird. I felt very out of place. But then I like just watched some YouTube videos. I did some research and was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a plan for what I'm gonna do next time. So I went the second time and I was like, with a plan. I'm like, I'm gonna do these 7 workouts in this order, this many reps, and like I'm gonna know what I'm gonna do. And I watched how they were supposed to be done. And I went in there and I did it, and I loved it. I was like, this is so much more fun. And it's just like a different atmosphere. And I realized like the people there didn't even look at me, like they didn't care. And it was kind of almost like high school. Like they each have their little cliques, like the big meathead guys are over at the
Wow.
big weights. And then there was like the super athletic, like preppy people over like walking the treadmills and doing their little sit up thingies. And like, I'm like, I'm my own clique and I'm just going to mind my business over here and put in my headphones and tune them out. And honestly, it was a great time away from the children. It has now become mom time.
Yes.
So that's been another benefit. So yeah, like, and then so I went the next time, and then I actually brought one of my oldest son with me, and I'm
Okay.
like, here, you can try this. And the weight machines, he was trying to play on them a bit. I'm like, no, 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 we're not gonna do all this. I'm like, how about you try the treadmill? You might be more of a runner guy. And he was over there like competing with the other guys running. They were like trying to outdo each other, and he's running. He's got legs. I'm like, man, this kid's like a cross country runner. And so like I'm like, he seemed to like it too. And I'm like, that's I want to instill that in my kids. I never worked out as kid, and his community helper that comes to do some therapy with them. She was like, "Oh, I started working around his age and lifting weights." She's like, "I lift weights every single day, and it's just her lifestyle." And I'm like, you know what? It's a good time to like start that for them. That they don't have to have the relationship with food that I've had. That when you're happy, you eat. You're sad, you eat. You're stressed, you eat. It's like, no, you know what? I'm happy. I can celebrate with people in moderation. And when I'm sad, I can go on a walk or talk to someone. And when I'm upset, I can go to the gym and like bang out some heavier weights than normal and just get mad about it and, have more productive uses of those emotions instead of just turning to food.
So if I'm someone listening to you, I have type 2 diabetes caused by poor eating habits for whatever reason, don't know what to eat. I have a sedentary lifestyle. I'm not active. And I'm listening to you. Tell me what Health Changer Academy has done to your type 2 diabetes.
Well, like I was saying, I'm not sure my doctor will ever consider me non-diabetic, but I start like when I was diagnosed 5 years ago, my A1C was over 13, which is incredibly high. I think your normal is like they want you under 6.5 or something like that.
Okay.
And I became a type 2 diabetic very fast. Like with my third pregnancy, I ended up finding out like at 35 weeks that I was gestationally diabetic. They had like misread the results, didn't know, ended up in emergency C-section because of it. And it was an ordeal and it was very traumatic. And then within 2 months after giving birth and this whole thing, I was starting to have blurry vision. And I'm like, oh, what the heck? And I had the glucometer at home because of the gestational diabetes. So I tested it and I was at like a 550. It was so high. And so I went to my doctor and they're like, they tested like, yeah, you have type 2 diabetes. And I was 30. I'm like, that's insane. And my dad had it, but he was diagnosed like in his late 50s. And, I was like, I'm looking at how many years ahead of me of having to do finger pricks and possibly insulin and all these medications. And, all the doctors didn't really bring up exercise or healthy eating as like an option. It was like, here's some medications, we'll start you there, and then we have more medications. And these ones are brand new and they don't have an off brand, so they're 700 a month each, and
Of
and
course.
you're stuck with that, and they work and they will lower your blood sugar. So I'm like, I would just take the medication and be like, oh, well, my numbers are going down, so I'll continue eating because I just have the medication to offset it, and that works. And I'm kind of if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Until you kind of get to that point where you're like, well, how many more medications can a person take?
Hmm.
And I didn't want to get on insulin. Like I said, I'd seen my dad have to go through that, and so yeah, that was kind of my waking up point of going, I've got to try something else. because I mean, ultimately I could end up on insulin one day and whatever. I was like, but if I don't do anything, I will. And you know what, you gotta at least try. And the body's amazing and the body heals itself so amazingly that if you give it a chance, like especially if you're younger and you have diabetes, like give your body a fighting chance and see what it can do. And like I said, I've only started like last fall. So like what, 6, 7 months ago, 8 months ago with just the calorie restriction. And then what, 16 weeks in Health Changer Academy. And like I said, I've had a complete reversal to where my A1C is 5.6, which is a normal level. It's not even pre-diabetic. It is what normal people have.
Wow.
And all of my like fasting numbers have been in the normal range. And it's just, you know, my doctors are floored. They're like, excellent, let's take you off more medications. And, you know, so I'm hopefully, I don't know if they will ever call me non-diabetic because I don't know if that's what they do. Hopefully they will. I'll consider myself non-diabetic at some point when I'm off the metformin and, you know, just not mention it to doctors anymore, I guess. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm giving my body a fighting chance to heal itself and do what God intended it to do and be around for my kids and, you know, just live longer, live happier. Like, I'm not tired as much anymore. My relationship with my husband's a lot better. And yeah, it's like I said, it doesn't just affect you, it's all the people around you. Like, when I was just tired because of my blood sugars being high, that affects everybody. The housework doesn't get done, the kids don't get schooled. Everybody's grumpy because mom's grumpy. You know, it affects your marriage life in all respects. It affects everything. And so, you know, when you take care of yourself, like it's not just about you. It's literally like your entire family. It's affected my friends. I've had several friends be like, I'm really inspired by your journey. So I've started walking every day, or I've started, you know, trying to limit my calories and eat more proteins and, you know, change my health. And you know, you hear those kind of things. And that's um, also encouraging. You know, it's like, oh, I didn't even intend that, but you know, you've seen a change in me, and that inspired you.
At the peak, how much were your meds costing you for your diabetes?
Over 1,200. I know one of them was
A month?
700. Yeah. Now I have insurance that was paying for them,
Sure, sure.
um, but we were looking at losing our insurance. So, yeah, out of pocket, even with like GoodRx, wouldn't even touch it. It was seven. I because I had for a few months had to pay for one of them, and one of them was 700 a month. The other one I think was like 500, $600 a month. A couple of them were like on the $4 and $10 list, but altogether it was well over 1,200 a month just for the diabetes medicine.
Wow.
And I, you know, I had thyroid issues, so there's more medications, and then, you know, all that, you know, not to mention all the Advil and other crap I was taking because I felt junky all the time. So yeah, a big, you know, and that takes a lot for your body to process and all that. So yeah, it's better to be off it when possible, and you
100%.
know, if you can not have to pay for that, even or even deal with, you know, insurance and having to go to the pharmacy every month and make sure you have it. Not having to worry about taking it twice a day or forgetting or taking it on vacation, and just it's I like not having to worry about it
Yeah,
so much.
100%. So you went from 1,200 down to what?
$4.
$4. That's like a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Final question for you. If someone is considering getting support, investing in a coach, maybe even Health Changer Academy, what advice would you give them if they're on the fence?
I would say just jump in and do it. Um, yes, it is a big investment, and it's hard. You know, I think I might fail, and like I said, it's what you put into it, and having, and I think you had brought that up during our initial calls, that when you have some skin in the game, like you have motivation to stick to it. And I know that was the case with me. It's like I have this investment and I'm gonna see it through and get my money's worth. Like I'm one of those, like I will get my money's worth. Um, and you know, so you get what you put in. And I think if you have even the most minimal reason to do it, like you said, if you're like, I just need someone to kick my butt and be accountable to, and it's not going to be my spouse. or, I don't have anyone in my life who can do that, then, it would be a good fit for you. If you're like, I just want community and I just enjoy hearing other people and being encouraged by them. And, like that was really motivating to me. So, like, oh, I can't wait to share this on Monday with people who will actually care and not, I find a lot of people have felt jealous, like, oh, why are you telling me this? Like, I don't care. Or, now they're like all grumpy about it. And it's like, being around people who are encouraged by what you're doing and the little wins that you get, um, that's been really helpful to me. And even getting just ideas from them, like when you're stuck, you can text your coach, or you can go into the community and be like, hey guys, like, what did you do? And I've gotten a lot of um, you know ideas about different foods to try or products to get, and just different ideas like that, like things to do, places to go, things to try. That just kept it fun too. It's like, oh, they said that worked and that looks delicious, so I'm gonna give that a go. And I don't know,
Uh,
I'd say it's definitely been worth it. Like for me, obviously getting off the medication, dollar for dollar, paid for itself.
uh,
Um, Lifestyle change, can't put a price on it. Having the accountability and the support. Some people might not need that. But if you're like the kind of person who's just prone to be a little lazy and unmotivated, it might be the push that you need.
I always tell people it's an investment. I think as consumers, we take that word investment, we're like, no, it's gonna cost me. You being on the other side, looking back now, would you say it was an investment in a real sense for what it really did for you today? Or would you say it costed you?
I'd say it was an investment, because it changed my health in so many ways for long term effects, and hopefully lifestyle for both me and my kids. Um, so yeah, like I said, the first few weeks I was a little nervous. I was like, oh, I kind of regret this. Did I make a mistake? Now I'm like, oh, I don't regret it in the least, because it was just that I got my dollar's worth. That's what I felt like.
Love it. Well, Danlynn, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your wins. I'm for you. We celebrate you. We know the best is yet to come for you, for your health. And honestly, I've never heard you say that your weight now is lower than when you were in junior high. That's just mind blowing, for real. Like, that's
Like,
just
how many people can say that? Honestly, I don't know what I weighed when I got married, but I had to have been like right around this or slightly more. So I was like, I'm tempted to go like whip out my wedding dress and just try it on again. I never thought I'd be able to wear the dang thing again.
love.
Because I met my husband like at one of my lowest points, which I'm like, and now I'm at junior high level. So yeah, I'm like, I should give that a go. And how many people can do that? Like
Yeah. That's wild. And you've had some kids, right?
3
Since,
kids.
and so
Yep.
now you're would you say you're pre-baby weight?
Oh, definitely. I said I I didn't have I was in college. I didn't have a scale, but I was a waitress and I was walking like 8-hour shifts and not eating because we weren't allowed to eat on shift, and I was a college student. So living off like top ramen if I ate, or like some crackers and soda. I dropped a lot of weight during college and I looked good. And the shirts that I only know that I'm around the same weight or less because the shirts that I wore then, I still have some of them and they're loose on me.
Wow.
So, and
Wow.
then we got married, and then within like 6 months, I was pregnant, and then packed on like 40 pounds during that pregnancy because I was like, oh, free for all, you can eat because you're supposed to gain weight. And I was just craving donuts like crazy during that pregnancy. So yeah, definitely pre-baby. I think in pre-marriage weight for sure. And I got a long ways to go. Like I said, my goal is still 160 or less. Um, and I think like I was expecting like, oh, I'll drop a whole bunch real quick, just by adding the working out. And the working out has added muscle, which weighs. And so I've had to learn to like compensate and be like, oh, I'm not losing weight as fast, and that's okay because the muscle eventually is gonna tone me. It's gonna look better. It's not gonna be all saggy, and it's gonna like burn more calories. And so it's a slower burn, like slower calorie or weight loss, but longer term, like it's gonna last longer. It's gonna look better in the end. Even a lot of like I follow some people on Facebook who had bariatric surgery and they had amazing weight loss, like 200, 300 pounds in a year. but they have tons of skin hanging, and then they have to do surgeries after that, and they have scarring. And I'm glad I didn't get to. I considered bariatric surgery, and they were like, "Well, we have to wait until you're done having kids and all this because it's not safe after." And I was like, "Well, I'm not in those years yet, so I'll have to wait." And that was kind of my plan, like just get bigger, I guess, until you can have surgery, and then you just get to drop all this weight for free, and just it's easy. And kind of having to reorganize that whole thought process of, yeah, even for them, they still have to work out and they have to really watch what they eat, and or they can pack on weight and get really sick. And having to do it the slow way, but I'm not having to get plastic surgery done to tighten skin and things like that.
Yeah,
So it has benefits doing it the old fashioned way. And if you're able to, I would say it's preferable probably. um but yeah.
love it. Thanks so much, Danlyn. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Rooting for you, and talk to you later.